Touch that file again, and you're done." The words landed sharp and cold, cutting through the quiet marble lobby before the morning crowd had even settled in, and Naomi Carter didn't turn right away, her hand still wrapped around the thin folder she'd picked up minutes earlier, its edges slightly worn, its weight far heavier than paper should ever feel, because something inside it had made her stop mid-step, made her forget the cart behind her with its neatly folded towels and cleaning supplies, made her read just one page, then another, and now everything in her chest felt different, tighter, like she had crossed into a place she wasn't supposed to see. And when she finally looked up, the man standing 10 feet away was already watching her, his posture straight, his suit perfectly pressed, his expression calm in a way that didn't need volume to carry authority. Richard Hale didn't repeat himself, didn't need to. His presence alone pressed against the air, and Naomi felt it, the invisible line she had just stepped over. The kind that people like her were trained their whole lives not to cross. Her shoes squeaked softly against the polished floor as she shifted her weight, but her hand didn't move, didn't release the file, even as 2 security guards appeared from the side hallway, their footsteps measured, controlled, like this was routine, like she was already a problem being solved. And Naomi swallowed slowly, the taste of metal in the back of her throat, because just 10 minutes ago she had been invisible, moving quietly from office to office, wiping fingerprints off glass doors no one noticed, emptying trash bins filled with things people didn't think twice about throwing away. And then she saw it, left on the edge of a conference table, slightly open, a single page slipping out like it wanted to be seen, and she told herself not to touch it, told herself to keep walking, because rules like that were the only thing keeping her job, keeping the lights on in her small apartment where her grandmother waited every night with the TV turned low. But something in her paused anyway, something she couldn't ignore, and now here she was, standing in the center of a lobby that suddenly felt too bright, too exposed, with 10 pairs of eyes beginning to turn toward her as more people filtered in, whispers starting before anyone even knew what had happened, and Richard Hale took one slow step forward, his hand extending slightly, not aggressive, just certain, like the outcome was already decided, like she was just a delay in a process that would continue without her. "That file doesn't belong to you," he said, his voice low, steady, practiced, and Naomi felt her fingers tighten instinctively, the paper crinkling just enough to break the silence between them. And for a second, just a second, she thought about letting go, about placing it back into his hand, returning to the safety of being unseen. But then a line from inside the document flashed in her mind. Numbers, names, a signature that didn't match what it claimed to protect, and she saw it clearly now, not the legal language, but what it meant, what it would do to someone who would never even know it was happening, and her breath caught as the realization settled in, heavy and undeniable, because this wasn't just a mistake left behind, this was something deliberate, something hidden in plain sight, and the guards were closer now, just a few feet away, their presence tightening the space around her, while the hum of the building grew louder, phones ringing, heels clicking, conversations fading into a background she could barely hear anymore. And Naomi lifted her chin just slightly, her eyes meeting Richard's for the first time without dropping, not defiant, not loud, just steady. And in that quiet moment, something shifted, subtle but real, like a crack forming in something solid, because he paused, just for a fraction of a second, long enough to notice that she wasn't reacting the way he expected, long enough to realize that she understood more than she should, and somewhere beyond the glass doors, the sound of rain began tapping softly against the windows, a low, steady rhythm that filled the silence as Naomi stood there, a maid in a uniform no one remembered seeing, holding a file that suddenly everyone wanted back, and for the first time since she picked it up, she knew one thing for certain: whatever happened next, she couldn't pretend she hadn't seen what was inside. The guard stopped just short of touching her, close enough that Naomi could feel the shift in air as their presence boxed her in. But no one reached for the file yet, and that hesitation told her something quiet but important, because if this were simple, if this were just a misplaced document, they would have taken it already and walked away, but they did not. They waited, and that meant the man in front of her mattered more than the paper. Richard Hale stood still, his eyes not leaving her face, studying, measuring, recalculating, and Naomi felt that weight settle over her like cold light, the kind that made people shrink, apologize, disappear, but her feet stayed where they were, even as her heart pressed hard against her ribs, and somewhere behind her, the soft wheels of her cleaning cart rolled a few inches, nudged by someone passing too quickly, a small reminder of what she was supposed to be doing, where she was supposed to be, invisible, quiet, replaceable, and yet none of that felt possible anymore. Not after what she had seen, not after the way the numbers lined up in that file, the way the language twisted responsibility into something else entirely, something that would fall on someone who would never even know they had been set up to lose. And Naomi swallowed again, forcing her breath steady as Richard finally spoke, slower this time, as if adjusting the tone might change the outcome. You are holding something that does not concern you.